Hey, it's Battle Flavor and Cook from AriesFireAstrology.com. Today I'm making a video about the 11th house, which is the Aquarius house, so it's Uranus and Saturn. The 10th house is Saturn also, but just Saturn, but the 11th is both those planets, and the 11th house is friends and networking and your wishes and goals and dreams and that kind of stuff. But what I want to do today is talk about how the 11th house can happen in your life, like in your natal chart, synastry, transits, all that kind of stuff. So now that you know a little bit about what it actually is, I want to talk about how that can actually happen in your life. So you have to look at the house, the 11th house in your natal chart, and you have to look at zodiac sign that house is, and if there's any planets in it that makes a difference if there is or not. So like if let's see, if there's Pluto, could be like transformation and or kind of hard times about that. Or Venus is love and what you value, and so it could play out differently, Or if the sun is there, which is your ego and your goals and your identity and your path in life. So, but what I want to talk about is for, and the north node and the south node, if that's in one of those, if that's one of those is in the 11th house, that makes a difference too, which mine is. My north node is in my 11th house, which is the Aquarius house, and my sun sign is Aquarius. And my north node, the zodiac sign that it is Taurus, which is financial matters and your value system, like what you value and that kind of stuff. So that can play out so differently. You have to look at like your sun sign, because that's your ego. So if you have a north node, like in Aquarius, and then if you have the 11th house in Aquarius and your sun signs in Aquarius and a bunch of other things are, that's going to be so much different than if if all of those things are in like Leo, which is the opposite of Aquarius, and not the opposite of the 11th house, which is the 5th house. Or like if your 11th house is Aquarius, and then or Leo, and you have a bunch of other Aquarius things, you're gonna be the opposite sometimes about that kind of stuff. And your ascendant sign also, that's your like public persona. Mine's Leo, so my ascendant and sun oppose each other. So you get a mix of your personality, with those kind of things. Because the 11th house is your friends, your and like who you associate with, like if you're into charities, or like if you're whatever you do, like if you go to the gym every week, that can be part of your groups of people you're around. If you're on social media, that's one way that can happen. If you are a musician, or if you See, and the thing is, the 11th house is Aquarius, Aquarius is all about like everyone's equal. And the opposite, which is my ascendant sign, it's all about me, me, me. Not Aquarius, it's the opposite of Aquarius. So it's all about I'm the king, pay attention to me, I'm number one, I'm me, 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 all about just one person. Aquarius is the opposite of that. So they're all about everyone around them. Everyone's equal, you know. So whenever people don't know about the 11th house and how it can all happen throughout your whole life, this Aquarius Leo stuff that I'm talking about, which is really what I want to make this video about, because I want to make it about what the 11th house is in the opposite, because I want to make these videos about like my studies in astrology, my career, and my, what I see in people. So I'm just, bringing up the opposite sign because I think it's important to know about. And I must make more of my videos on 1,000,001 reasons to learn astrology. Throughout all of my videos, this is why, because you don't know about it. So what I want to talk about is the fact that when you don't know about astrology, or if you just know a little bit about it, and then all these, and like I can see all these astrology things happening in everyone's lives, like let's say, one person doesn't know much about astrology or not at all, I don't know. And then there's me, that person is seeing things happening in the world, and I'm seeing the same things. We're seeing the exact same stuff happening, but I can explain it with astrology, and that person can't. And that's a difference. Otherwise, there's no difference. Basically, I can explain it and argue with you about it in astrology, with astrology. And I say argue because people do argue about stuff, because people have different, points of views about things. So this video is on the 11th house and the opposite of it. I'm not going to really try to make a 5th house video, but I want to talk about it, about the opposite too, because so many people don't pick apart, think about stuff and pick apart this and that and what's going on, with the help of astrology, that don't know about it, and I do. So the 11th house is your networking, like throughout life, whenever you're a part of, this group of people, growing up as a little kid or whatever. There's so many things in astrology that you need to look at, because like one of the midheaven signs can mean that you had a stage parent, like got you into the music industry, or acting, or that kind of thing. Or another one can be, something completely different. And like an Aries midheaven mind, Aries is like different from Leo, but all about themselves too, independent. That's what I'm trying to say. They're independent, so I'm a really like, do everything myself kind of person, and especially since my sun sign is an independent, really, or personality, Aquarius. So, and you have to look at like the time in your life of what's going on for each house, or to see what why things are the way they are, because like at the very moment I'm kind of like still at the beginning of my north node, which is something that you have to learn and get better at, which is Taurus and Aquarius for me. So my own financial stability, but it's also the 11th house is when you're a part of groups of people, and that whatever kind of like group of people you kind of settle in or whatever, like Aquarius is all about like being equal with them, not like above them, because my south node was Leo, which is all about yourself. So that makes a difference in how the 11th house can play out in the networking. Like, okay, so and the networking thing I wanted to say, I thought I was saying something else and got on something else. Anyway, so the networking thing, yeah, like when you're a little kid, you have to see, all about your birth chart and see what is what and how your life plays out or whatever. But like, if you are used to, no matter what kind of like what amount of money you have, if you're used to the lifestyle of like you know the like Venus in the second house, and five senses, and like expensive things, or always vacationing, or first class tickets on an airplane, which that's my lifestyle growing up, most of it, part of it, especially when I was living with my parents and step parents. Well, the one set of them, the other one's different, but so I'm used to that kind of stuff. So, or if you had a life where you're not used to that, but either way, like, if you, and now I'm on my own learning my own financial stability. So anyway, if you if you have that kind of north node, where if you're trying to figure out what career you want to do, or if you already know and you're doing stuff to get your career established, and you get into a certain industry or whatever, that's all about the 11th house, networking and stuff. So what I wanted to say is, like, whenever you do something in life and it gets you on a certain path in life, that's the 11th house. Like, around what the 11th house is about, people, it's because it's, like I said, it's your networking and your friends or whatever. It's not all just friends though, because your networking and your wishes and goals and dreams and stuff, that's part of the 11th house. So that can be a part of, like, it's not your career like the 10th house is, but it's your your goals and stuff. So that's part of people or whatever. So whenever you're in a certain situation, then another one, then another one, or whatever, that's all the 11th house. And so what I wanted to say is that when you when one person is in a certain kind of situation in their life, and then you're in another situation, or like try, if you're like a chef, if you're a master chef, and then I'm down here trying to climb the ladder to be a master chef. You know, you're so many people today, like on social media, and this is another subject about the 11th house in Aquarius, fans and famous and, that kind of stuff. Leo and Aquarius especially are the opposite about that, even though, like I said, you have to look at your whole birth chart to see what your personality is like. Because if you're in Aquarius and you have tons and tons of things in Aquarius in your birth chart, but you're a celebrity, you're not just going to act like an Aquarius. Or if you have an Aquarius and Leo in your birth chart and you're anywhere on the ladder of anything that has to do with social media or the public in your career, that's going to play out differently too. So, like I was saying, if you're a chef or whatever, or, work at a zoo and you're the owner of the zoo, or but you work there or something, and then you have little trainees or whatever, anything like that, the 11th house is all that kind of stuff. And, we all go throughout life and, are in different groups of people sometimes, so, what people don't get about the 11th house is that it's like, whenever you're, a little kid and then you're an adult, how else does it happen? Life happens that way. Like, there's so many people that want to, like, have these, like, classes in their work and stuff. And I'll admit it, I'm not afraid to admit it. I can be a hypocrite about this subject. I can want, to climb the ladder and, especially with my midheaven sign being Aries, I can be the kind of like person that is the owner of a place or, manager or president or, I'm in those kinds of positions throughout my I was the president of the homeowners association. So that's my personality, to be, the leader of a group. So you gotta look at that too in someone's birth chart. You can't just like judge them and say, they're especially with the North Node in Leo right now, which is all about, being number one for yourself and like a celebrity and stuff. People can, get into work that is, has celebrity to it somehow or another. So you can't judge someone and say, they're, being whatever. Being too, just, or wishful thinking, or it's not that way really. It's that, if you're midheaven sign like mine is Aries and stuff, and you are that kind of a person, like a leader kind of in your career, or or like a, normal human being and you don't mind attention or something, so what? That's okay to be a person. It's not something for people to, judge you about or something. And the thing about the 11th house is, for one thing, Aquarius, like I said, they are all about everybody being equal. And I've gotten into little arguments with people on social media somehow or another about this subject. Not big, ridiculous things that get blown out of proportion, but just, our own opinions. And especially when it's like someone that doesn't have Aquarius in their birth chart, like tons of it, or I was following some people on Twitter that but I'm not following it anymore. When I first joined Twitter, some kind of, I mean, like people that have some level of fame. They're not huge celebrities, but they have some amount of fame though, and so it's like, the 11th house is all about networking, like I said. So when I'm doing my own thing and, like in my career, and these little kind of, famous people or whatever on the lower end of that, whatever, are seeing me doing my own thing, they're being stuck up, towards me because of that. It's like, what's the big deal? I mean, just because I was following you on social media doesn't mean that you get to pick on my zodiac sign, which happens a lot to me because it's Aquarius, so it's really confident and they can handle it, and sometimes don't even give people a reaction or can give it back just as well. So, you gotta look at, like, everything in someone's birth chart to see, what is what, and like, if you care to learn about astrology anyway, otherwise you don't need to give a crap about it at all, what they're doing in their own life, because they're allowed. So anyway, yeah, because if you have someone like that, I mean, like a true, like, fangirl kind of a, like screaming kind of little girl or whatever, 20-something-year-old girl that really is like, an actual fan, like, I mean, behaves like one, like treats herself like she is one, or, flips out and gets all red in the face when she sees a celebrity, and or sees any celebrity, especially if it's not something like, if you actually like the person, like in a romantic kind of way. If you just are a fan of everyone, I mean, there's a difference in people's personalities. So that's the 11th house too. Like, your group of people or that you're equal with, that you're friends with, and then, other people. I mean, it also can be like who you're really working with or whatever. It's not that the 11th house is like, if it's a group of people, like the little fan, like if she is a secretary, at a dentist office, and that's her group of people she's with every day. That's the 11th house too. Or the celebrities, like the, actors that she was, got to meet, in some movie she likes or something, that's that group of people. But the networking part of it is that, like, if someone is interested in working, in the film industry or whatever, especially, I mean, anyone could, but like if it's maybe someone that is not so much like a fan, like that girl could be, and or like the chef example, like whenever, excuse me, I have allergies and stuff, my nose is always runny, like whenever you have the master chef at the restaurant, and then you're a beginner chef or whatever, you don't need to be stuck up to the person and act like, you're better than them or whatever, because you've been working longer. You need to. It's like whenever you're in that group of people, you're all equal. That's the 11th house. And in synastry also, that ties right into it. You have to look at, like, if a planet in synastry is in your whoever's, whoever you're interested in, like if it's in their 11th house, if it's the sun or something, that's your ego. So, you're gonna get along really well, and especially if it is like in the same zodiac sign or something, that makes a difference. Especially if it's like Aquarius or something, or if it's whatever. I mean, it can play out differently, but or if if another planet in the synastry, or if none is, that makes a difference too. So the 11th house is really an important house, and especially like whatever transits are going on, up in the sky, especially your the north and south node. In your birth chart, the north node is what you're learning and what you're getting used to and getting better at, and the south node is what you're used to and what you're already good at. But then in transits, it's whenever it always, your ascendant, sun, and moon in astrology is the holy grail of the astrology. So you always look at those three in transits to see what is transiting each of those, like which house, like the north node transiting my ascendant sign, which is Leo. The north node in Leo is transiting my ascendant sign in Leo's first house, which is all about me. And then I always have the opposite one. It's the north node, and the south node is in Aquarius. And the north node is transiting my sun sign in Aquarius's 7th house. So it's opposite, like exact opposite, house. So Leo and Aquarius, and Leo and Aquarius, a bunch of that stuff going on right now. So it's all about the 1st and 7th house. For me, it's all about me, and then 7th is all about other people and me, which isn't Leo and Aquarius, but it kind of sounds like it. So you have to look at that too in your in the 11th house, like if what is going on, if you have or especially your sun sign, like being your ego, if your ego is Aquarius or Leo, and the networking stuff you're trying to do, in your career or something, with the north node being in Leo right now, that's gonna make a big difference. Like, I am a songwriter and planning on, singing and making albums, and also doing astrology. And it depends, what the universe kind of has for you a little bit too. But like, if you, I mean, especially astrology, it's not always a big income. So I wanted to have something else that I'm actually interested in doing. So, like, whenever I'm following people on Twitter, or wherever, whatever social media I have, that can get you the networking stuff. The North Node in Leo right now can open up doors for you somehow or another. Or if you don't have money to, pay people to, publish your work for you, which I don't at the moment. Sometimes people get into jobs because they don't have money, so then they become whatever, the owner of their business. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm planning on having my own publishing company so I can, and making my own music, and doing it all on my own basically, because that's how I am anyway with anything. I don't feel like spending the money when I can do it myself somehow. I mean, and that's what an Aries midheaven is like. They figure out how to do it on their own. So that is what networking is all about. Like, you whatever you're wanting to do in life. And then, like, once you finally get it established, then people come to you for work. So that's what the 11th house is. But in synastry though, it can play out differently. I mean, if you're it's not so much about synastry that I'm trying to talk about. It's just that, like, in natal chart or in synastry charts, not the aspects that I want to talk about. It's just that throughout life, in synastry, in whenever in your ascendant, sun, and moon, you have to look at, which I probably am gonna make more videos on, but I've already explained enough of it. I think that if you watch my videos, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I won't go through all of that right now. But if your ascendant, sun, and moon, and someone else's, you want to look at that first of all and see what house is being triggered, which I have on my website. I have this properly, neatly done on my website. That's upside down. When your moon or sun triggers the other person's ascendant sign, a certain house, and then the other, like your moon, if it triggers my fourth house, then my ascendant sign. Not that it's this, but just as an example, it'll trigger your 10th house. So you got to look at that too in synastry and networking to see what experiences the universe has for you in your life, that plays out differently throughout your whole life. In the networking, in the 11th house part of your life, because one part of your life can be completely different than the next part of your life, as like a child or an adult, or maybe not. Some kids get into, certain kinds of jobs, and that's their 11th house, that adults do, whatever it is, like if you're like an entrepreneur kind of person, like I am a lot, that makes a difference. Or if you're kind of person that doesn't like that or doesn't want to own your own business, if you're, working for people throughout your whole life, you're on the, lower end of the whatever working career ladder, your 11th house, or your networking, and what's going to be happening in your life can be different, so you have to like, if you're really interested in, like astrology, or like getting to know someone, like you know uh all about their life, and like not, you know I mean excuse me for saying this, it's not what I mean, but like so many people just judge people and or label people. That's a better way to say it. So many people go through life and just label people and don't care to get to know them and their personality and what, even if you don't know what's in someone's astrology birth chart, you still can get to know them, especially if they can explain it to you like I can with astrology. Like, the personal planets and the angle houses and the north and south node, I mean, that makes a difference in your 11th house networking, friends, groups of people kind of stuff. And your sun sign, like I said, like mine is Aquarius, so like charity, philanthropy stuff too. It makes a difference, like what you're interested in throughout life to, I mean, if people get to know you, they can, the thing I'm making this video about the whole opposite Leo Aquarius stuff that I see going on in life, that irritates me sometimes. People could stop the labels and like figure out what the 11th house is all about, and especially in transits also. Whenever anything is transiting your 11th house, that can make a big difference. Or like I said, the North Node transiting, my ascendant sign's first house, which your ascendant sign is your first house. So it's really kind of fun right now for me. But so it's all Leo stuff, whenever you look at someone and you're seeing what their 11th house life is like, their networking and friends and groups of people they're around, it makes a big difference what transits are going on right now, because every so often, then whatever thing is transiting your whatever house, then it transits another house and is in another zodiac sign. It never just stays the same way your whole life. Everything is always transiting something at the moment, but it's always changing throughout your whole life. So, and then I mean, like if your Pluto is transiting your 11th house, I don't actually know what transits were going on in my life because I wasn't into astrology when I was younger, at a certain time in my life. But like, I guarantee you Pluto was transiting my 11th house at some time or another, and then I moved on from that group of people, and now I'm here where I'm at now, which is completely different part of the state. Like, I mean, opposite ends of the state, and I'm not even planning on living in the state forever that I'm in right now, because my whole life is like that. Not my whole life, but now especially, for so many years now, it's been all about the 9th houses, which is foreign people in foreign countries and foreign, traveling and not staying in the same place. So that can make a difference too if your life is like the 9th house, or if it's always just being in one place, and if that's what you like and if that's what you do your whole life, your 11th house stuff, your networking and groups of people you're a part of, that'll play out differently, So, and then whenever I get my career established, the 11th house networking stuff that's going on in my life will be different from where I used to live in the other part of the state. It's so completely different and so much nicer now, and so glad I left there, because it's not the place for me. It's not who I really am, and now I'm living my life, really the way I want to and everything. And so it's, it makes a difference what is transiting your 11th house, throughout your life. If the North Node is in my 11th house, so if Mercury transits my 11th house, and then which is communicating and skills and stuff, so you can come across people in life that you communicate with that make your 11th house networking stuff a certain way. So yeah, just for some examples, I'm not going to go through all the planets and all the kind of transits that can be happening, but that's what I wanted to tell you about the 11th house, how it can play out differently in each person's life, because it's such an important thing to know about. So many people don't know about it, and anyway, what I've already said in this video, I'm not going to repeat myself anymore. It's not necessary to keep going on about that, but anyway, yeah. So that's basically what I wanted to make this video about. It's not all I could say about the 11th house. It's just my own, whatever on what I wanted to talk about. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this video if you watch it, and you can leave comments, check out my other videos and stuff, or contact me on my website if you want, whatever's on there. If you want to contact me about something, my email's on there. So that's, like I said, it's ariesfireastrology.com. So anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos from me.